I was just replying to some of my Facebook feeds. Some of my friends were upset that one of their state governors had just gotten rid of the mask mandate. And I gotta say that there are other mandates that I think would be a lot more useful than the mask and the social distancing. You see, even before COVID-19, I sometimes had to social distance from other people, not because of infectious disease, but because of food allergies. I get severe eczema from milk product. And I actually find it wasn't so much the social distancing. I could be perfectly fine sitting next to somebody eating products with milk, or even drinking a glass of milk. The problem is people would get finger foods all over their fingers, and then they would dust it out everywhere. Which I always find disgusting, regardless of food allergies. Even if it's perfectly healthy food and there's nothing allergic about it, I always found that behavior really repulsive, because it gets everywhere, and then you have pest problems, and then you got to use chemicals to deal with the pest problems. You have corrosion problems if you're doing this inside of a car or inside of an airplane. I always found that behavior really repulsive, and then it becomes doubly repulsive if I'm going to react badly to that. And so usually I could tolerate sitting next to somebody eating stuff like that. I got to remind these people not to dust their hands off. Now, what would be really nice is that if we stopped eating with our hands, especially foods that can eat. I mean, if it's a bag of potato chips, I understand. Nobody wants to use chopsticks. But for something like pizza, I don't know why you have to use your hands. And so I was replying to the person who posted the mask mandate issue happened to post a pizza joint, and so I happened to comment, well, why don't you just use utensils to eat pizza? And people got I got like dozens of really hate mail kind of responses. And I just wonder, you guys really think it's less of, people say it's my right to eat however I want. I think it's more of a right to not have to wear a mask, or to not have to social distance. We're doing it because we have to, obviously. If you're willing to put up with the mask and the social distancing, why not with how you eat, right? It's a whole lot easier. It has a lot of other benefits. There's a reason humans invented these tools. And people will say, well, what's wrong with eating with your hands if you're going to wash them anyway? Well, I encourage you to pay attention to an average person's eating habits. Most people don't just eat 3 meals a day. They eat like constantly. Are you seriously going to remember to wash your hands every time you do that? Not to mention people who smoke cigarettes. Are you really going to remember to wash your hands before you go smoke every time? I mean, that's a lot of hand to mouth gestures that you make every day. If you're snacking constantly, if you're smoking, are you really going to? And is it healthy to wash your hands that many times? That's the other question I would ask, right? But for some people, they don't want to think, right? They just want to, especially people who have an eating disorder kind of problem, right? They don't want to realize how often they're eating. If they have to eat in a different way, it forces their eyes to open up to, oh my God, I eat so often. And some people get really defensive about it. I think that's the big barrier here in America. People don't want to know what they're eating. Sometimes I was just reading about how at a lot of fast food places, if they even change their credit card terminals to make it easier to pay, it makes it a lot easier for people to go there. There's a lot less friction. So if you force people to eat in a different way, they're going to open their eyes, and they're going to become very repulsed by how much which is a good thing. It feels bad, but there's a reason you're repulsed by it. Anyways, I encourage you to think about that. Thanks for watching.